Hello, this is week 4 assignment program pathway, or this video. That's what this video will be about, and I will be answering the questions for this week's assignment about the program pathway. To start off with is what is the program pathway, and I'm a standard intern, and so I am required to complete a minimum of 600 paid hours of clinical practice during my program. In addition, me as a standard intern, I am required to complete a minimum of 198 hours of support, mentoring, and supervision per academic year. These additional hours are identified as 144 hours of general support, mentoring, and supervision, plus an additional 45 hours of English learner specific support, mentoring, and supervision. The evidence of these hours is collected on intern support supervision logs during each phase of the clinical practice, and it is the responsibility of myself to upload these as evidence onto Canvas. To go to the next question, which is what courses, names and numbers do I need to take for my program pathway? So to start off with, I am in EDU 620 30 and EDU 620 40B. These classes are Professional Learning and Practice and Special Education Foundations. And on April 29th, I will start TEL 71710, Education Technology. On June 24th, I will start TCH 76860, Introduction to Research. And the courses that are required for me to take to complete the clinical practice hours, and these courses will require a placement to complete clinical practice hours, will be EDU 62350, which is Content Knowledge and Instructional Practice, Elementary Methods, and EDU 62460, Clinical Practice 1, under Planning. And October 14th of 2024, I will take EDU 62470, Clinical Practice Phase 2, which is Teaching and Planning, alongside EDU 62120A, which is Content, Knowledge, and Instructional Practice 2, Literacy and Pedagogy. Moving on to January of 2025, I will be taking EDU 62480, Clinical Practice 3 Assessment, and EDU 6230, Content Knowledge and Instructional Practice Phase 3, Teaching English Language Learners. In March 10th of 2024, I will begin taking EDU 62050 and EDU 68900B, which are Content Knowledge and Instructional Practice Phase 4, Differentiated Learning, and Clinical Practice Phase 4, K-12 Special Education, Reflection, and Professional Responsibility. And May 5th, I will take my final class, which will be TCH 76910, which is Research in Action, Communities of Practice. And that will conclude my master's program. Finally, or moving on, how many clinical practice hours must be completed in each of those courses to stay on track? And during CTC required clinical practice hours, I need to take 150 for each one of those clinical practices. And of those hours, the hours that will be spent in observation will be 60 hours of classroom observation within each course minimum, and these will be completed, and an appropriate tracking logs must be submitted to the instructor for those hours. How many should be spent teaching? 198 hours for each practice. How many should be with my district support provider or cooperating teacher? Those should be 42 hours of additional support and supervision. how many English language hours do I need for each course to meet the program requirement? And that is for each of the clinical practice phases, I need 12 in all. And per the Commission on Teacher Credentialing, the formal evaluation or video progress assessments must be completed during the program. That would be taking place in clinical practice 3 and 4 with a minimum of 3 videos that must be submitted with each clinical practice course. And what happens if formal evaluations are not completed? Well, failure to submit those videos may result in a failing grade from the course, and I will be required to enroll in advanced mentoring. And my backup plan for if I get off of task is to reach out to my support system, whether that be my district support provider or my clinical practice instructor or my intern support specialist, and to reach out to those people in order to get back on track.